So, for me, entrepreneurship is simply about fighting poverty. See, while I didn't have a poverty of means when I started to become an entrepreneur, by world standards, I was in a lot of debt. I was relatively poor. So I was fighting my own poverty. But in order to fight my poverty of means, I had to fight my poverty of mind. And that's what Lolita did for me. She took my worldview and in one question gave me a vision of a future that I could then live into. And when I had that knowledge, when I had that inspiration, I was able to do it. So a lot of people talk about talent. You know, you should only invest in talented people. But everything I've read about talent says that talent is a tiny inspiration and then 10 years of hard work. Every talented person I've ever met, if you ask them, well, you know, did you just wake up one day talented? No, they'll tell you, I had this great inspiration and then I put 10 years of hard work in. And suddenly I'm an overnight success. Right? Entrepreneurship isn't about talent. It's about being inspired and then fighting the poverty of the mind and the spirit and the means. And not just your own, other people's. Because when you create value for other people, you create value that fights their poverty too. Now, I haven't got a terrible amount of time, so I'm just going to whiz through a couple of things. I've actually written a book on this, and it's a recipe for success. It's based on the fable of stone soup, where a magician tricks a village into providing everything for a pot of soup in a famine. And at the end, he only takes a bowl for himself. But what he's actually done is inspired that village to come together and be a team. And I have a very simple mantra for how you put together entrepreneurship. The first thing is you have to survive. It's very important to survive, right? And in order to survive, there are some things that should be free in the world. You know, I'm kind of anti-charity, but I'm not anti there being free stuff. Nurturing kids, I think, is something should be free. Access to healthcare, rule of law, access to knowledge and nature. These should all be free. And if you're a politician and you aren't somehow delivering some of this, get a different job, please. Access to knowledge is everything. Now, I'll give you a little bit of knowledge here. WeForest is all about creating entrepreneurship in places where there used to be rainforests. Because our research shows that when you regrow a rainforest, you can do it in 3 years. You can create jobs, you can create food. And the rainforest, when you regrow it, creates clouds. Now, why are clouds important? Where there are clouds, you can reflect energy back into space. If you increase the number of clouds on the planet by 2%, you can actually halt global warming. We could do it in 3 years. Literally, if we all decided to replant forest today, we could do it profitably too. Because you can create forest using technology called permaculture that produces food and income and clouds. Now, WeForest's mission is 20 million square kilometres of new rainforest where there used to be forest by 2020. The next thing, when you have some knowledge, is you need to strive. No one likes being given stuff, really. If it's handed to you on a silver platter, if you spoon feed someone the knowledge, notice I say access to knowledge, not the knowledge itself. You have to strive for something in order to make something of it. You cannot just be given it. So, in order to strive, you actually have to have some belief in what you do. You actually have to say, that moment of inspiration, if all you do out of what you do here is go and inspire one other person to get out there and do something, to actually find their path, if all you do is inspire one mind, I think you've been a success. But of course you could inspire more. Give them that belief. Get them to strive. Don't give them the answers. Ask them the questions. I had a dinner with this guy, and one of the things that I know that's very inspirational is to ask the right questions. And I've never been in the presence of someone who listens better than this guy. And he was asked a question by a young American entrepreneur. He said, "Your Holiness, is there any room for spirituality in business?" And His Holiness said, He laughs. He talks a bit like Yoda. He goes, oh. Business people, human beings too. You've got to have a human connection. You've got to inspire people on the emotional level. You've got to listen them into what you're doing and have an emotional connection. If you can get someone to strive and be inspired, that is the path to thriving. Survive, strive, thrive. We all need to thrive. And there are lots of things that you can do about thriving, but the most important thing that I've ever discovered is listening. And like I said at the start, listening in a certain way. Please don't listen like you're listening for the truth. Don't listen to judge the other person. Just listen, and for God's sake, don't listen for the gap so you can have your say. We all do that. Listen for them. Hear them. It's an amazing experience. And when you've really heard someone, see if you can hear what would really inspire them. If you do that, you've got a very good chance of inspiring someone. Now, at We Forest, we want to hear you, so we created that the solution room, and we would love you to come and give solutions to some of the questions, but also more questions. One of the best things I've done in business is make up a list of questions that a business should always be asking. One of those questions is, what new value can we give our customers today? If you continually ask that question, it's very hard to go wrong in your business. Now, in order to thrive, we do have to deal with one thing. Not only do we have to reforest the planet, but we actually all have to get along. So to wrap up, I'm going to give you a little video entertainment. Hopefully it works. From my good friend, the Wombat.
This is your home. It's the only one you got. This place is pretty, but you can't live there. You can't even get there. So I repeat, this is your home. It's the only one you got. Cherish it, protect it. It's the only one you're going to get. These guys, they're your neighbors. They ain't going away. They ain't leaving. You have to get along with them. So you have to learn to share. You have to get along. You have to learn to get along. Because they are your neighbors. They're not going away. Okay, all this stuff, the animals, the waters, the sky, the ground, the bugs, the fish, the tacos, the people, they're all connected. Everything is connected. They all depend on one another. If you ignore that, you're doomed. Repeat, doomed. Okay, so listen up. It's all one. Not two worlds, not three, one. Just one. So get it in gear. Remember, all is one. Okay? Hit it.